What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS 3 Raw TV. Let's fix that fucking camera angle and the chair. Make sure that shit's square. So, breaking news today, right? Or breaking news yesterday, because today would be the day after. So, breaking news yesterday from Evolution of Bodybuilding. The real reason why Shawn Rhoden was not allowed to compete at the Mr. Olympia and why he's not going to beat the Arnold. Now, first of all, I haven't heard shit about him not being at the Arnold, so I'm not really sure why all of a sudden this Arnold thing, maybe he has pulled out, maybe, who the fuck knows. Now, I want to state up front, I've known Shawn for a long time. I met him here in Maryland, probably in 2007, somewhere around there. That's why I first met him in the gym, and have known him for a long time. So I stand by the fact that I believe he is innocent until proven guilty, and I do think that people should not be speculating about any of this shit whatsoever. Like, this is not a joke. Like, this is this guy's life, his reputation. Everything is on the line. So I think that until all the evidence comes out and he's tried and the jury comes back with whatever the decision is, everybody should just kind of keep their mouth shut and kind of just let things unfold as it happens. Now, that being said, Evolution of Bodybuilding reported that Shawn was now allowed to compete in the Olympia, and he's being pulled out of the Arnold because he had an unpaid dues for his IFBB Pro card. Now, first of all, I saw Nick Trigili's video. What's up, Nick? And Nick, you know, put out some good points about how it's like $200. You know what I mean? Like, Shawn is not a broke guy. You know what I mean? He's just not. He's won strings of shows. He's had contracts. Like, you know, he's not a broke guy. I mean, he's a fucking Mr. Olympia. He got $400,000 the year before. So to think that he couldn't pay $200 for a pro card is just fucking ridiculous. But I think logic and people thinking for themselves have gone, like I've said this all the time, like, people don't even fucking think for themselves. They go, oh, okay, that must be it. Listen, you do realize that AMI, Weider, were the ones that chose not to let Shawn compete, not the IFBB. Matter of fact, the IFBB put out a statement, or not a statement, but maybe it was a statement, that they can't do anything about it if AMI doesn't allow him to compete, and they are reserving their decision till after this whole thing fucking goes through with due process. So therefore, it's not even the IFBB in general that won't allow him to compete. Now, also, think about this again. AMI Weider runs. They're responsible. They can decide whatever the fuck they want to do with the Olympia. The Arnold is run and owned by who? Arnold fucking Schwarzenegger and his fucking partner, Bill Lamar, I think is. Bill Lormier. I can never say his name right. Anyways, Arnold owns that, not the IFBB. So therefore, if Shawn is not competing the Arnold due to whatever fucking hanky-panky hocus-pocus is going on, that is the Arnold deciding to do that, not the IFBB, which comes back again to the pro card is through the IFBB, the Pro League. The IFBB Pro League is the one that issues the pro card. They're the ones that you'd have to pay the dues for. However, the IFBB are not the ones running these shows or own the shows. They're IFBB sanctioned, which is not the same thing as IFBB owned and run, right? So, like, let's say the, I mean, because he's not in the Nationals, he's not in that stuff, but let's say it was just something that was specifically run by the IFBB. It wasn't owned by an external company or an external person like Arnold or the AMI Media. Then the IFBB would have say as to what goes on. But don't you think, and this is fucking like, again, think for yourselves. Use a little bit of fucking logic. Stop being fucking stupid. That they put him on the poster with Rami. Rhoden and Rami return. It was a big fucking push, right? It came out like last week or this past week. Oh, Rami and Rhoden are coming back to Arnold. Here we go. They're back in the saddle again. Why the fuck would they put him on the poster if he hadn't paid his fucking dues yet? So if this was true and he didn't pay his dues for the Olympia, they were like, hey, you can do the Arnold? He's like, yeah. Okay, you gonna pay your dues? He's like, yeah, sometime. They're like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and market the shit out of this stuff now. And then all of a sudden, like, hey, you gonna pay your dues? And he's like, no. And they're like, okay, fuck you. Let's take this shit down. What? Like, it doesn't. So before these guys compete, they sign a contract. And that contract is both to protect the athlete and the venue or the promoter from legal liabilities. So let's say Shawn Rhoden decided he was going to compete in the Olympia. By the time that contract is signed, everything is in line where they kind of know where the marketing's going. Shawn would sign that contract. Next thing you know, they'll have a poster, or Phil or whoever, they'll have a poster revolving around Mr. Olympia with everybody else around it, and they'll promote the fuck out of that and market that all throughout the year so that when the Olympia comes, people know they're following their favorite person up to the Olympia. Now, the reason why they signed the contract is if they decide to opt out, there better be a damn good fucking reason. I mean, like, you broke a leg walking down the stairs, you had a fucking heart attack, like something major has to happen to you, and usually with a doctor's note on top of it, in order to not be in that show that you signed the contract to, or you get fined like a motherfucker. Now, Kevin Levrone was one that explained this to me first years ago. So Kevin was getting ready for, I don't know if he was getting ready for a show. I think it was off season. And he was bench pressing 600 pounds on the flat bench. And he was like, I'm going to be better than ever. And he was, following up his season previously, he was, of course, slaughtering. He was killing it. His second place at the Olympia, his first try, right? So he's like, I'm going to give Dorian a run for his money. I add some size. He's bench pressing 600 fucking pounds on the flat. Tears his fucking pec, his tricep, the whole fucking thing comes off. It's just torn. So at this point, he's like, I'm not going to make the Olympia. He had already signed the contract. All right? The contract had already been signed. He goes and has surgery. And the surgery was to reattach the tendon, reattach the fucking muscle, etc. They did it, and now he's healing, right? So as he's healing, he gets a call from, I think it was Joe Weider, he said. And Joe said, hey, man, you signed the contract. You got 3 months to the Olympia. Do you think you're going to be ready? And Kevin was like, fuck. He's like, no, I don't think I'm going to be ready. But he didn't say that. He's like, yeah, no, I'll be on stage, because Joe was like, look, if you're not there, we got to find you. You know what I mean? We put a lot of marketing behind you. You fucking came in second to Dorian before. Like, you're one of our guys, one of our top guys. Like, we have to have you there. So if you're not there, you're going to get fined and possibly suspended. And Kevin had just torn his fucking pec off the bone. He's healing from a surgery. So he said he hung up the phone and was like, fuck. He goes, I don't know what my physique is going to look like when the swelling and stuff went down, the bruising and shit. He goes, I didn't know if I'd be able to train properly. He goes, I went back in the gym when it was time to start training. He goes, I had 3 months to prepare for the Olympia. He goes, I bench pressed just the bar. He goes, meanwhile, 2 weeks earlier, I was bench pressing 600 pounds. I can barely bench the bar. Within 3 months' time, he was on that Olympia stage, and I believe he got 3rd place after all of that, because that contract was signed, and he didn't want to get fined and or possibly suspended. Now, that's a pretty, that's pretty fucking intense, right? And I don't know if they still do things the same way today. Obviously, the times have changed, so maybe possibly, it's not as intense now. But the bottom line is you sign a contract, and there was a whole big thing with Kai Green a couple years ago. Remember, it was like, oh, he hasn't signed the contract yet. The deadline for the contract. Well, they won't let you sign that fucking contract if your dues are not fucking paid. They're not going to fucking put you all over the marketing and the posters and shit if you haven't signed the contract, your dues are paid, and you're ready to roll. Like, they're not going to take the chance of that happening. Now, I'll admit what Nick said may or may not be true. I don't know about them not paying the dues. I can absolutely see somebody like, Dorian or Phil or whatever, if they hadn't paid the dues and they just forgot about it for whatever fucking reason, and the IFBB was like, I don't know, fuck it, who cares? He's like the main guy fucking people are coming to see. Who gives a shit? Fuck that, we'll deal with it afterwards. I can see that, right? But I do not see them saying, here's a Mr. Olympia. He hasn't paid his dues. We're going to put him on some marketing, and then we're going to fucking ask him after we marketed it already. And then if he says fucking no, we're going to take him off the marketing, and fuck that guy, he can't compete. You know what I mean? Like, it makes more sense for them to just be like, Shawn hasn't paid his dues. If this was the case, Shawn hasn't paid his dues. He's coming back to the Olympia, to the Arnold. He missed the Olympia. Everything that's going on, his fans are going to want to see him. Rami's coming too. It's going to be a fucking battle between him and Rami, we probably think, because they're the top 2 guys, right? This is going to be awesome. What we didn't see at the Olympia, we'll see at the Arnold. It's going to breathe more life back into bodybuilding again with these 2 big champions, former Mr. Olympia champion, former fucking, he's never won the People's Champion, but former People's Champion in Rami. Like, we need to get shit back on track in 2020. Let's start with the fucking Olympia and the Arnold, and let's roll, right? Wouldn't that make more sense than being so petty about it and saying you didn't pay $200 for your dues? Like, I'm sure that fucking someone else, one of Shawn's fans, would fucking probably pay the dues at this point. Be like, you didn't pay your dues. Fuck, Shawn, here's a check for $200. Let's fucking pay it and get you on stage. Like, it's not like it's 20 grand. You know what I mean? But honestly, it's the promoter's discretion who they do and don't want to compete. They can let whoever compete that they want to. They can hold back whoever they want to. They can do whatever the fuck they want, pretty much, in a nutshell. And, we see different moves here and there with, promoters of why they do things. We don't know. But there's no definitive answer as to why Shawn's not competing. Is it an injury? Is it the stuff that's going on with the court case? Is it his head? He can't wrap his head around things to get himself in the shape that he needs to whoop everybody's ass, to be dominant so that he, continues his legacy. Is it any of that shit? We don't know. It's probably one of those things, but we don't know which one. So for everybody to speculate out there, make up shit, and fucking, you know, the evolution of bodybuilding, I gotta admit, it was a fucking stretch. Well, I get inside fucking info. Whoever that gave you that inside info is an asshole, because it's not real. This fucking doesn't make any sense. All it would take is an evolution of bodybuilding, which I don't know who runs it, but it's obviously somebody who doesn't really know that much about the sport, how things work. So I feel like it's almost like a fan running evolution of bodybuilding, because I know they made a documentary and all. I don't give a fuck. Bottom line is, if you know the inner workings of how things work, or even use a little bit of logic is to know how, in knowing how things work, you wouldn't put a thing out there and say, well, there was no dues paid for the fucking pro card, so he can't compete. What the fuck? Like, that's the least of Shawn's worries right now, is paying a fucking pro card. If he really wanted his fucking career on track and he fucking wanted to compete at the Arnold, and that was the only thing holding him back, you don't think he'd pay the fucking fee and compete? If they're like, hey, Shawn, look, we put you on the poster and shit already. Like, are you going to pay your dues? He'd be like, fuck. Well, I don't want to disappoint my fans again, right? Like, they wouldn't let me compete at the Olympia. I need to fucking get back on track. Matter of fact, this court case, this shit costs money too. Like, let's fucking get there and win, you know, win the Arnold, take the fucking prize money, make my fans happy, fucking get back on track, try to put this shit in 2019 behind me and move forward in a positive direction. Don't you think that would be the case, as opposed to Shawn being like, no, I don't want to pay the fucking money? Or like, no, I'm broke? Even if he was fucking broke, which I'm sure he's not, I'm sure the IFBB would work something out with him to be, he'd be like, look, I'm in a spot, I'm spending all my money on this lawyer or something like that. Like, I can't afford to pay the thing. I'm sure they would be like, you're a fucking Mr. Olympia winner. Okay, let's figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, you'll owe us. Whatever the case may be. But the bottom line is, I'm just so tired of people speculating, and Shawn's a hot topic. You know, he's a fucking target right now. He's a hot topic to talk about for clicks and views and all that bullshit. And he's a target for people that, I want to say, just like drama. Like, plain and simple, he's a target for people that like drama, like to stir up shit. And the poor guy, like, he's going through enough shit already. To have more random shit going out that's not confirmed by some kind of inside source. Everybody I know is a fucking inside source. If you talk to one person who's been to one fucking show, they're an inside source who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody whose cousin's and related and fucking married to Phil Heath's cousin. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? You know, we've heard people say, well, Phil's done competing. I got it from inside source. Have you seen how fucking big Phil is right now? Phil's fucking gigantic. There's no fucking way he'd be walking around carrying that mass if he was just done. Like, use your fucking heads, people. Like, stop listening to this bullshit. And I realize because it's drama and it spreads quickly, right? It gets out there and people fucking talk about it. It spreads fast. And today everybody's talking about Phil Heath and his pro card. He can't fucking afford his Phil Heath. Excuse me, Shawn Rhoden, he can't afford his fucking pro card. And I'm like, what the fuck? Bottom line is, guys, wait to see what happens. Let Shawn put out a press release, which I'm sure he will over time, as to what's going on, because he wants his fans to fucking know what's up. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to fucking disappoint his fans. I'm sure he wants to make sure that they know it's not him doing the shit too. You know what I mean? I'm sure there'll be a release, just like, you know, he did with the other thing. I mean, we just gotta wait and see. But the bottom line is, guys, stop with the rumors. Stop with the bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, if Evolution of Bodybuilding or somebody puts that shit out, read it, but don't react to it. Don't start flooding the forums like you're now an insider, that you got the fucking tip because you saw it on fucking Get Big and Evolution of Bodybuilding put it there. You're not a fucking insider. You're spreading bullshit fucking rumors. You're not helping the sport. You're not helping Shawn. You're not helping anything. You're not even helping yourself, because when that shit comes out to be bullshit, now people go, ha, you were wrong. You reported this shit. You're not an insider. You're a fucking idiot. We figured out where you got it from because Evolution of Bodybuilding broke it first. They were wrong. You copied them. You're an idiot for copying them. Shut the fuck up. That's what's going to happen. Do you want that shit? No. BiosTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. BiosTraining.com is the blog. It's to stop the bullshit bicep, and we are out.